Hello, hello, lovely souls. So we're going to continue on with this video. We're going to get into the different dynamics of appreciation and what a fear is. There's two different types of ways of leading. And one may think that fear is more effective, but I am here to tell you today that it is heavily not effective. And I'm going to show you why. In my opinion, it's not effective, but make your own opinions, of course. This is just a perspective. Last Wednesday, I left off at It's a Lonely Life. And at one stage in my life, the extent of my willingness to commit to the statement will forever be remembered as the greatest understatement upon grasping its significance. And I'd also like to mention I never fully pondered the repercussions of attaining what I once yearned for. Even as we pursue our idols, there exist boundaries we never thought about transgressing or even contemplating. This serves as a testament to our character. This is why cultivating a relationship with God is paramount. Prioritizing this connection with God enables us to navigate back if we stray from our path. Moreover, nurturing this bond with God safeguards us from corruption and actions deemed irredeemable, because we feel it in our heart, and our heart, the feelings that we get inside of us, will not let us continue because it will be weighing so heavily on us. That's how we hone in on that. Okay, so without a sense of fear, there's no sense of respect. This used to be a saying that was very stood by on the street. And to me, this is the hollowest statement to say so myself. So I put together two different the yellow side is fear and the green side is appreciation. Tell me how you feel about these statements. What would you like me to do about it? Versus, how do we make this work? Makes inquiries a big deal versus gives you all the information that you need. Threatens your job, places you where you excel. Don't ask questions, from my understanding. Sense of superiority, or we are all assets. Do this or else, your voice is valid. Validate me, or he wants your honest opinion. So the real question is, what type of people are we working or associating with? Furthermore, when and for what reasons do they shift? How do you define your relationships? The difference between a good friend and a bad friend is a good friend will call you out when you're messing up, even if you don't want to hear it. Now, my question for you is, do you expect the same from the person you marry or your girlfriend or boyfriend? How about the colleagues that you work beside? Another question I have is, does someone have to be your friend for you to provide knowledge? Whether it's received or not doesn't matter. And how well are you at containing a pressure chamber? So emotionally, we suppress ourselves before we release emotions, and that may be on the wrong person. This is what I know. Proverbs 23:23, which I had in a dream, the numbers 23:23 kept repeating to me. Buy the truth and do not sell it. Also, wisdom, instruction, and understanding. So I put wisdom, instruction, and understanding, and I mirrored it so that it was upside down, because one of the darker forces antics that they use is the mirroring effect, because they can't create anything of their own. So compassion. When and for who? How and what reason? Is it emotional? Is it obligation? One subcategory to that would be gain. And in the street, it's black and white. The time period is unknown. The destruction is indefinite. But the conclusion is death and always will be death. That's the one part of life that is black and white. People who are usually out for gain get taken out by the universe. And it's just how it goes. It's just, that's life. So is it moral? So emotional versus obligation. The other subcategory would be, is it moral? Yes, observe awareness. And if it is, I want to connect that to the deep-rooted meaning, refer to the character building framework that I have built. Is it moral? No. How long is it going to last? Fear versus respect. And the subcategory off of that would be the integrity of self. So it could, if it's not like, even if it's not moral, whatever they're doing, they still have that chance of the integrity of self, which brings it back to a yes standpoint. It's kind of like a gray area where they don't have, this is where a lot of the confusion comes into play about who you are as a person, because this is where the dark forces come in and they start to attack you. They start playing games with your mind. They start making you think everyone is against you. You build suspicion. You build, or you get robbed, or like on the street. This is just the dynamics of it. Somebody takes advantage of you in some way, somehow, and you feel like you've lost your sense of self, or you break a boundary that you had for yourself, and now you betrayed yourself, and you need to do some emotional healing to get back to your mental stability and your emotional assuredness. And we aren't taught this in school. We're not taught how to come back into our emotional assurity after the betrayal of self or betrayal of others. Huge, huge, huge gap in our evolution. If you're not given the coping skills to be able to work through this, how are you going to know what to do? Especially when you're in tough situations where you don't really have a whole lot of time to think about it and you're just trying to get by. But no matter if it's moral or it is moral, you can still get back to the integrity of self. This is where the loop comes into play. Don't get stuck into a negative feedback loop of this area right here, okay? So integrity of self, your character. The subcategory of that is you're building a reputation, okay? And you can refer to the mirror effect to get back, explore creative ideas, to let it run its course, but still be given direction in a subconscious manner. This is also what I like to call planting seeds. And if you want to check out the playlist that is for children and the dynamics of regaining your authority, which I will put in the link right up here, this goes deeper into planting seeds and why we plant seeds in a subconscious way, because that is ultimately giving the person their independence and the exploration of creating meaning in their life, so that it becomes something that's deeply rooted in them, allowing their character to develop around that deep-rooted meaning instead of telling somebody of who they should be. So the next video that we're going to be going into is going to be on emotional evolution, honoring the unhealed, yet creating something new for the up and coming generations. So when we go further into the emotional evolution of things, this is going to be a really exciting part of the series, because we get to see the difference between shared contentment and the parts that we hinder ourselves in society, on a personal level, on a worldly level, and how it intertwines into our well-being as individuals and the wholesomeness that we experience in everyday life. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are and your questions. If you have any, please leave them in the comments. Again, thank you to all my new subscribers, and I will see you guys on the next one.